He has like a Trump Tower in New York City. At that time, it was not China, it was Japan. So he was talking about how Japan is taking advantage of the liberal American system. And he has been saying the right things in a very nationalistic, very patriotic. As an Indian, I'm also offended when he doesn't treat us respectfully now. No president of any country should behave like the way he's behaving today. Those two things made America like a great country, and they sell bonds in trillions of dollars, which is more than India's GDP at the time. And even though it is cheaper to still make in China or Japan and pay the tariff and sell in the US. American society has not invested in education or training. They're just living off very happily. That is why they appear so cool. Trump is challenged with a $37 trillion debt. So that is the objective. And this objective of tariff is no different from how we do tariff. Trump behavior is indeed not presidential anymore. एक बार फिर से कॉल किया, उसने मोदी ने फोन नहीं उठाया 50%, because Modi ji and Trump were very friendly for a long time. China has been taking lots of criticism for America for decades now. And India is also coming in that league now. Europe and US have nothing that they could export to us. The cars, our cars are better, Chinese cars are better, Japanese cars are better. Now in the US, each farmer has like 10,000 cows. The largest exported item from the USA is petrol, which is zero tech. Everyone was like, wow, the fly bright and shiny America of the 70s. It doesn't exist anymore. If you go to California in particular, you would find a lot of jhoppadpatti. Joblessness is very high. The homelessness is very high. So when they say the Britain's economy is 3.1 trillion, $3.4 trillion, I mean, that $3.4 trillion is only because they are inflating everything by 10 times. Iran fell, Afghanistan fell, Pakistan went away, a lot of things have gone away, and we are still standing.
क्या है कि देश और दुनिया में एक विषय बड़ा चर्चा में है. देयर इज अ सब्जेक्ट दैट इज इन डिस्कोर्स since quite some time. Discourse related to nations, discourse related to diplomacy, and discourse related to the one of the largest economies across the globe. So we'll be keep switching in between languages from Hindi to English, and the subject that we are about to discuss is the subject of tariff. The subject of uh, President of United States of America. And to discuss that subject, we have someone who can be called IITian, someone who can be called expert of his subject, of his particular subject, someone who pursued his higher education from USA and in business. So, Mr. Amitabh Satyam, sir. Sir,
Namaste.
welcome on our YouTube channel. And firstly, in most of the interviews, we start the interview from "Ki how are you? How is your health? And how are you doing?"
All right, no, doing very, very well. Thank you so much. And I'm really thrilled to be talking to you right now on your channel. And I'm looking forward to an interesting conversation on this topic. I'm doing extremely well. I'm happy to be visiting Delhi right now. I'm not at home in Bangalore, and so far it's been very good.
Okay. Sir, there is an interesting character in international geopolitics called Donald Trump. So, I mean, without any delay, without any dilemma, and without any confusion, I will jump to the core of the discussion.
Right.
I mean, what kind of character he is? I mean, I'm talking about his individual character also, and what kind of character, I mean, what kind of human he is. Because if we observe the last few months, uh, his behavior, either socially or politically, that was not usual. I mean, when a layman looks up to him, I mean, it does not look usual. I mean, whatever be the reason, whatever be the cause, I mean, why is that so?
Well, Donald Trump has been a public personality known to everyone for decades. I remember watching him on live television in 1988. I was there just for that was my second year of studying in the US. And he came on television. He used to come on television. Everyone used to know who Donald Trump is. But I got to see him on television and I was quite impressed. Uh, that was 1988, so that was decades ago. And we have known him since then. He's always on television. He actually had a show on television, and then he's produced some things solid. Sometimes he has been in some movies for 1 or 2 minute roles. He's just a fun character who is just always around and he's visible to you. And he's a wealthy man. And so he has like a Trump Tower in New York City. I think he has one in Chicago as well. And there's in Atlantic City, he has casinos. So he has basically a real estate developer, and he picked up the business from his father and he grew it substantially, and he has this confidence in getting the business done. So he's been doing deals and business for a long time. And if you go back and listen to his interviews from the 88, you could see this pride and nationalism coming out way then. It's not a recent thing for elections. He used to talk about things that he talks about now, that we are not, other countries are not being fair to us. We need to be treated more fairly. At that time, it was not China, it was Japan. So he was talking about how Japan is taking advantage of the liberal American system and selling their cars and electronics and things. So he had that mindset. And in 2016, we decided to, 2015, when he decided to run, and his confidence was so obvious. I was visiting the US at the time and would watch him on I mean, I have never missed a presidential election and all the Republican Democrat debates, even if after I moved here. It's like one of my primary interests. So I used to watch him in primary debates, and he used to crush his other candidates because as you can see, he just talks, and other candidates are kind of limited by the system. Like they cannot just talk like him. And he would always win, and people would stand up and clap because he just says the right things. And he has been saying the right things in a very nationalistic, very patriotic, and he wants the best for America. Now, and then his first, I remember I was working, well, I was just finished working at IBM and I had just moved to SAP when he became the president. And I know that many employees in India were let go, IBM employees were let go, and many were hired in the US after Trump came because he said, you know what, you don't subcontract your work outside, work here. So a lot of changes happened then. It was good 4 years, the first presidency. The next presidency is, as we know, so the thing is, I mean, let me just finish with saying that in terms of his personality, he's extremely confident. He's a businessman, we know that. And he has his confidence, or you can say overconfidence, in engaging with somebody else. So he would completely obliterate his opponents on the stage and in conversations. And he's one of the smart guys, who you cannot win in a conversation, and he's been like that for a long time. Currently, we'll talk about tariff when you ask me more about it, but in terms of his personality that I have observed him since the 80s till today, and I have been quite fond of him actually. I always thought he had good ideas. And there are a few other things that we need to worry about. As an Indian, I'm also offended when he doesn't treat us respectfully now. But as a person, and observing him, and if I were not to be Indian, if I were to be American, he has some good ideas and he has been very patriotic, that's for sure.
So as you said, he's a businessman, and there's a typical Indian mindset that businessmen are not that brave or they are not that bold. They are, I mean, the typical Indian, with not offense to any caste, with the typical Baniya mindset that they are quite balanced and calculative in terms of their work and in terms of their personality. But when you look up to his latest, I mean, the press conference that happened few days back, in which
Hmm.
a journalist asked him about that. China is also buying crude oil from Russia, and a few more countries, European countries are also buying crude oil from Russia. But why this tariff is applied, or why this tariff is imposed only on India? And his response
Mhm.
to this question was not so calculative, what not so balanced, and was not so polite. So, what's your take that if he is actually businessman, then why is he acting like this for India, and particularly for India, not for any other country?
Oh no, I know, and it's quite surprising because he was not no president of any country should behave like the way he's behaving today, and certainly not an American president. If you look at any president of the USA before him, no one would talk like him or behave like him. He just talks as if he's just a regular guy sitting in a bar having drinks with his friends. So his conversation style is still that. And I used to like it because as long as you're making sense, this whole drama of nice words and calculated speech is quite boring. If you just speak what it is right, I liked it. But nowadays it's a bit different, and let's just come to that. I think let's talk about the American society now also a little bit before I answer it. Is that okay?
Yes, yes, sure.
All right. Sure. So the American society, so after the Second World War, America became very powerful because they were military might that they're a very powerful country. They bombed and killed the billions of people in Japan and stuff. And people started looking up to America because they created the nuclear bomb. So a lot of people went to people's immigration of people who educated people from various countries. Earlier, people immigrated because they just wanted to go somewhere. They were not even the best people. So first round, all the rounds and rounds of immigration happened before the mid 50s. They were just people who wanted to live there, mostly from Europe and few places. Then the immigration from the 50s onwards was the smart people wanting to go there because they were investing in research, they were investing in many things. The biggest thing they did was investment in research and building the super highways, the highways that connected the entire country. Those two things made America like a great country. And we all get attracted to the highways if you watch in movies and nice buildings. So that happened, and America became very powerful, and everyone started believing America as a superpower, the American, everything became our role model, and it still are. But then, in 70s they declined heavily because they didn't could not compete with many other countries because other countries were not just laying around; they were just also working hard. So the American supremacy was challenged in the 70s, especially when Japan started making more technology products and USA started slowing down. But the difference wasn't that much, but the decline had started. And then over time, over time, as you can see today, the there's a huge amount of, I mean, you can discuss why they keep borrowing money. What American society has been doing is that they print money in bonds and other things, and they sell bonds in trillions of dollars, which is more than India's GDP at the time and even substantial amount today. That much they just sell and essentially borrow money from others, and with that money they just live. It's like you borrow money from the bank and then like दोस्तों में उड़ा दो और लोग सोचेंगे कितना धनी आदमी है. So it
Mm.
was like those that so with that what happened is that their overall borrowing, foreign borrowing, has become 37-38 trillion dollars. That if you multiply by 5 or 3 or 4 5%, so 40 times, so like $2 or $3 trillion they have to pay as payments. Borrow kiya hai to you have to return money, like it's like interest payments. That is huge, $2 or $3 trillion. And at the same time, they got so used to consuming foreign products that they stopped making anything there. They make nothing now. They absolutely make nothing. The manufacturing plants you see in the US, there are very few now. They're all mostly foreign companies like Hondas and Toyotas, and they have been doing this. They increased tariff before also many times, and they forced Toyota and Honda and many other foreign companies to build in USA, manufacture in USA. However, that very limited because it is cheaper to still make in China or Japan and pay the tariff and sell in the US because manufacturing in the US, American society has not invested in education or training. They're just living off very happily. That is why they appear so cool. because they don't seem to have a big worry. Like if you look at an American college movie or a school movie, everyone seems to be throwing around the school phrases and things. Where the Japanese and Chinese and even Indians are, we are working, all the cool kids are the ones who study 16-hour days, where the cool kids there don't study at all and they are drinking at the bars. So that change, that is a huge challenge for America today. So right now, Trump is challenged with a $37 trillion debt. Even that they went through the huge exercise of cutting expenses, could not even reach a trillion. And I mean, nothing when the that guy was the Tesla guy was heading that whole effort, and he's out now, the Doge. Then they're not able to create enough money to pay the debt. So what Donald Trump thinks, and it works all the time, and in India we do it all the time. We have a heavy tariff on American cars. So we are protecting Tata and Mahindra and Suzuki in India and Hyundai and MG and everybody who's manufacturing here. Because if we put a huge tariff, we have been doing that all. And we are so used to putting tariff on foreign products, we don't even think about it why we don't have very successful companies here. Unless they manufacture here, they cannot, it's not economical to sell because we put 100% tariff. So we have been doing that to others. Trump also wants to do the same to make sure that people move their manufacturing to the USA and they start manufacturing. Now, so that is the objective. And this objective of tariff is no different from how we do tariff. We have been protecting our farmers and our car industries and our small and medium manufacturers for a very long time. When I was coming back from the US, I had a very nice car. And I was just crying because I could not pay 150% duty. And then the shipping cost and make maintenance and all that was anyway out of question. But then, it would have been nice to have that car here. But it was duty was huge and I was fresh. I mean, I didn't have that much savings to pay for all of it. So that is known for a long time. Even before, when I would come and just buy a regular some electronic radio, also the customs guard will catch you and then take a lot of bribe before they left you. And this used to happen even for tiny, small, insignificant things also. So that is because we are putting these tariffs and then custom duties. Now America wanted to do the
100%.
same, and now हाँ 100 से भी ज्यादा बहुत सारी चीजों में 250%. So these tariffs are there and very little. I mean, now the tariffs are lesser because you can actually carry mobile phones back home. They don't charge you. They don't look at your laptop because it's like too small.
Mm.
And there's enough wealth in our country, enough foreign exchange in our country. So we say, don't worry about a few $1 billion here and there. Even if you're importing, we don't mind. And that freedom is very good. Right now, we feel Indians, we are not harassed by the customs like we used to. It's
Mm.
very painful earlier. But then they don't have a way out. They don't have people to manufacture at a good cost. So they say, well, if I force the foreign product to become expensive, they will move here and manufacture here. And that is the whole logic behind it. Now, so that is a perfect plan. There is no question about the plan itself. That you increase tariff on things that you believe you need to protect. Like right now, we are putting huge amount of tariff on, like let's say, foreign cars. We are negotiating to make it lower, etc. Let's keep that aside. But the thing is that we are a huge tariffs on foreign cars, so that we have a car industry that is the third largest in the world. We are manufacturing, we are exporting, and we are consuming. So if you had allowed all the foreign cars to just completely, suppose they sell at zero tariffs, we would not have any car company in India because the other foreign companies, especially Japan and Korea, and even they would have just come here and started selling a car for 10,000, $12,000 car for like 10, 12 lakhs, and we would just be buying their cars. So that is the story. So that is the fundamentals of why what tariff and Trump are like fighting. The third question that I think part of your question is that is Trump behavior is indeed not presidential anymore.
Mm.
When people ask him any questions, on what basis you are doing tariff, Ah, every time, I mean, this is a funny incident. I keep thinking about this. There's a movie called Dawn, 1978. I have not yet watched, but I mean, I watched it like 10 years ago. But Amitabh Bachchan movie. And in one of the scenes, there is that Amitabh Bachchan is sitting with his feet on the table, and then one guy walks in and he says something and he shoots that guy. And he dies. एंड देन somebody else comes in, अरे आपने उसको मार दिया, क्या हो गया, उसने कुछ गलत किया क्या? तो अमिताभ बच्चन in his own style says, मुझे उसके जूते पसंद नहीं आए. So you shoot somebody just because you don't like somebody's shoes. उसका दूसरा कारण था. There was a logic. He was carrying something in his shoes. But that the whole one-liner from the writer, it just showed that how cool this guy is. He'll just shoot people just because Trump is behaving like that. He calls Modi. Modi doesn't agree. 20% एक बार फिर से कॉल किया, उसने मोदी ने फोन नहीं उठाया. 50%. So he is doing it like, okay, if you don't yield or you don't align to my whims, then I'm gonna tariff you. So this has become a stupid game now. So every day he's throwing numbers like, it's like, ऐसे करके लोग पैसे फेंकते हैं ना तो डांस बार
Hmm.
में जाके. So he's just throwing tariffs like that to different countries. It's so funny. Seriously, it is funny. You can create any imagination. So dawn or a dance bar, or he's just sitting there like a king and throwing tariffs of people expecting that just like you shoot somebody and the guy has fallen on the ground and struggling. So his imagination is that I threw 25% tariff and she is the Chinese premier is struggling, he's laying in ground. Oh my God, what has done? I'm hurt. Same thing with Japanese and Chinese and Indians. India in particular is he's becoming worse. It's like when two brothers fight and then they become the biggest enemy. So I believe that that is one of the stories with Modi, because Modi ji and Trump were very friendly for a long time, and Trump was counting on Modi to be. Friendship does not mean I just agree with everything you say, right? But Trump has this so much confidence backed by his American presidency role. He thinks that everybody is like whoever I call friend, they will just do it. Even in college friends, you see that the guy who's like flamboyant and चार लोग के साथ उसके साथ चार लोग रहते हैं और चार लोगों में से बोलेगा चल यार उसको लेके चल फिर उसको उठा के ले आ उसको मार के ले आ चल जाके कॉफी ले आ and you expect that guy to honor you, right? Because you are the leader of the gang. And if he doesn't honor you, you got extremely angry with him. Same thing he's doing it to us. So it's kind of childish, and no negotiation is done like this. And this part is crazy. This part is indeed crazy. There should be more strategy behind it. I have been thinking about anything that can give me a sense of strategy behind these numbers. It appears to be very ego driven, and there should be consistency. He should not speak about this. See, the people who speak too much in public, they end up, countering themselves, and that's why the leaders like they should not keep saying things every day. Like kuch man mein aaya, fat se tweet kar diya. It's no fun. You should not do that. But the thing is that at this juncture, US and India are no friends. Maybe later when we discuss this, I'm very proud of the way India is behaving, and I'm very happy the way China has been behaving. China has been taking lots of criticism for America for decades now. If you go read any American newspaper or watch any news, not now, since they started becoming good, like say 20 years now, they were always criticized for not honoring this. They're communists. They're exploiting their people. They don't have people don't have freedom, and they will be talking about it as if it's like everyone is living in jail. Absolutely not true. How many people would innovate if you're living in jail? And I've been to China. I've not seen anything of that sort. But then they decide to make you an enemy. And this is how most of the American presidents have been winning. They create an enemy and they appear to be winning against the enemy. And they suddenly like they are popular figures in their country. So China has been an American enemy because China is doing well. And America cannot do anything about it because they don't have the skills or the capital to do it. And India is also coming in that league now to some extent. Not yet that big a league, but we are getting into a league. Niche se, but we are entering where we cannot be taken for granted. And I'm very proud of the way we are behaving with them. That just because it's Trump and you just take it, we are not doing it. They are used to it. They have been influencing us for a very long time. So that's my take on the current psychology and the reason behind the Trump's attitude towards us.
So when you said that Donald Trump is throwing tariff like here and there, again I'll quote. I mean, the dialogue from another Amitabh Bachchan's movie, that आज भी मैं
Oh.
फेंके हुए पैसे नहीं उठाता. I mean, I don't remember the film.
Ah,
So I mean,
Diwar.
we can Diwar. So we can keep India on in that position ki India does not pick money which is thrown away like that. Jokes apart. Uh,
Yeah.
sir, you
Maybe it's
also
a good one. It's a good one. Yeah.
you also said one more thing that India is protecting its agriculture sector and the automobile sector. And I think 2 to 3 days back, PM Modi during speech said that we will protect our farmers, we will protect our agriculture sector. So I mean, because uh, in terms of a broader spectrum, people
Hmm.
still need to understand, and people like me also need to understand how is it directly, I mean, how it is directly related to the agriculture sector, and how this whole the tariff scenario will create impact on the agriculture and the automobile sector of India.
Modi ji, I don't think Modi ji has said anything about automobile industry. And I think the UK deal that we have done, I think there's a lot more freedom to bring British cars into this country. In any case, most of the British cars are not British anymore. We own the largest one, and then a couple of the other big ones are owned by China. But keeping that aside, the two aspects of tariff, and when India says, okay, we bring it, the cost of making 1 kilo of anything in England or America is $5. We make it for $50. So if, even if you will allow them, we will just not be able to, we may not want to buy it. So that is one thing which we don't realize, that if Europe and US have nothing that they could export to us. I thought about it. What is it that they could export to us? The cars, our cars are better, Chinese cars are better, Japanese cars are better. So no European or no American cars are better.
It's
If
a
at all
sir,
the
sir.
cars
I
are
mean,
good.
I'll interrupt, but it's a big statement that Indian cars are better than, I mean, better in terms of, and they are aligning with Japanese and Chinese cars.
Oh yeah, yeah. इसमें सोचना क्या है? I mean, if you drive any of our current cars, the last 5 years, we are world class. It's just that our branding is not powerful enough to sell abroad. Otherwise, we would be everywhere. And before we could become that strong and sell abroad, Chinese are way better than us anyway. So Chinese are doing that. They are taking the leadership. Indian companies are focusing on India itself, and we are doing well. When Mahindra and Tata, their both valuation is about $50 billion, which is not bad. $50 billion is like in the top 20,
Hmm.
uh, top 10 actually. It's anywhere near there, which is we were nobodies. So now we are somebody. So the foreign cars may not even do well in India, and we also put lot of that we tax our cars. So when I'm buying
Hmm.
a car, Mahindra car for 20 lakhs, about only 10 or 12 is going to Mahindra, 8 or 9 is going to the
Was
government.
it Thar, sir?
So I have a Thar. Yeah, how do you know? Oh, 20 lakhs.
Just a random guess.
Yeah. So when I pay certain like around 20, I paid 18 and a half. But then if you get a Thar, and then so most of the money goes to India also. So if India were to not remove even that extra tax on the domestic also, our cars will become almost half the price. So if you're taxing so much our Indian cars, and if you allow the foreign cars to come for free, right now, the tax is very high. There is a policy about EV, that's electric vehicle policy we have in place, where you invest 500 million and then you are able to uh, sell for only 15% tariff, etc. So there are some things like that. But that is not our discussion here. The discussion is about how the tariffs are affecting. Uh, so that's about car, and that's just an example. Modi ji has not mentioned car. I had mentioned car, and I think that it has traditionally been taxed anyway or tariffed. The other one is agriculture product. So
Agriculture.
now, if you look at our farmers, and if I go to my own village, my village, most people have one. I mean, in my village, only buffaloes. But even if you have cows, most of the guys have only one of them, and
Hmm.
there'll be a family, and there'll be like the entire family of four or five will be focused on raising that one buffalo or one cow, and they sell the milk. Now in the US, the each farmer has like 10,000 cows. I recently went and met a friend a nephew of my very good friend in the US. He owns about 3,000 acres of land. And he said, well, I don't really have, I mean, there the cattle is called agriculture also. Because the
The
cows
dairy
are eaten.
sector.
Yeah. So he said, "Go, I have a very small one, only 1,000 of them." He said, 1,000, he still has 1,000 cows. So, and then he said he doesn't even count as a serious business because a lot of things are automated. So
Mm.
with that kind of automation, and with that kind of a very manufacturing plant kind of a process, it is very hard for us to be inhumane. Although that is declining with time. When I was younger, we never treated any animals badly. We didn't even eat them as much.
Mm.
Now people are eating them and then they are also hurting a little bit more. But traditionally, we don't hurt our animals, even if we take milk from them. They're just resource that they're just manufacturing plant kind of a situation. So their cost of making 1 kilo of milk, 1 liter of milk is much lower than our cost. Because here the five people in a family is counting on that one cow's milk. So if you allow the foreign milk to come, right now, suppose our milk is 30 rupee per liter, and they are able to sell for 15 rupee per liter, then what happens to our thousands and not thousands, crores of farmers, not lakhs, crores of people who are raising cows and buffaloes, uh, making 20 liters of milk and then adding 5 liters of water and then selling 25 liters of milk product, and the livelihood of the entire family is on that. They cannot compete. So that is the problem. And therefore, we have to protect. And we have been protecting. If you remember, no, you may not remember, but I'll reminding you, I'll telling you
Mm.
that in the mid 90s, there was this big slogan that Murli Manohar ji, the president of BJP at the time, has created, that we don't want potato chips, we want computer chips. Because when we were liberalizing the economy, which was done by Narsingh Rao in 91,
Mm.
we were liberalizing things. We were allowing imports. That's what foreign countries, the Western countries do to you. They force you to open up and they call it liberalization. Now they're all protecting themselves. So they're not being liberal at all because when the foreign countries told us that India, need to liberalize, what does liberalization mean? If you think about what liberalization only means, allowing those foreign companies to come do business here, sell their products here. That is what liberalization is. And it's been good for us because the Indian, we've got foreign products. We got Coke and Pepsi, and a lot of all of our cold drinks company died because of that. But then we have access to it. Consumerism increases. At the same time, local companies also step up and start competing. So if you just only allow foreign and not make anything here, like people do in China, sorry, people do in Pakistan, so if foreign companies can come and sell, but they don't make anything serious. They make only small things. So that is bad. That is bad. What we did is say, okay, we will only allow you to come in the sectors we want you to come. We don't want you to come in everything. Potato chips and only computer chips is the policy statement actually. It was like basically a slogan from the 90s, which is being translated today and saying that, okay, come to my country, make things. For example, if you make computer chips, we will even pay you. So forget our tariff. We'll even pay you a negative tariff if you come and build computer chips. But if you want to sell potato chips, then we'll tariff you positive, like you have to pay for it. And if they manufacture here now, so the lot the Pepsi and large companies are manufacturing here, so they don't pay tariff. So essentially, the protection of small farmers, because we have a very large population and we all cannot be doing IT programming, so they have to be protected. So it's a very socialist approach, but it's very good. It's a caring approach to our other citizens of our country, because immediately if their businesses go away, what would they do? they they cannot all do I'm AI programming or something. So that's where it is. So we have identified a list of protected industries where we want
Mm.
it affects the small farmers. Farmers in general, we only have small farmers. Unless you have 1,000 acres, you are not even a big. I mean, we don't have 1,000-acre farmers in India anyway. Half acre is the average. If you look at average, there's data that says average farmer owns half an acre. So that versus 3,000, 4,000 acres. So we cannot compete because they have economies of scale and automation and such. So it's important to protect them. We are also trying to protect the small businesses. You see, if you bring foreign companies, then you know there is a competition. So if a small company wants to stay competitive, they have to increase quality, improve quality. But then, but then 90% of them will die. Only 10% would survive. So then, how do we deal with it? So I think India has a very large domestic sector. We don't necessarily need a foreign company to come. And in any case, US and Europe, they have nothing to bring to this country. I mean, I whenever I go and visit, I keep thinking, what do they really make here that India, I mean, they can export?
Snow.
That you know that, huh?
Snow.
Snow. Seriously, if you do you know the America's largest export?
No,
What
sir.
is the USA exports maximum trillions of dollars of export that America, USA? It is petrol. The largest exported item from the USA is petrol, which is zero tech, practically zero tech. And then defense equipment. Defense equipment because they have traditionally held on.
Mm,
And a lot of these defense equipment sales are very political. Somebody wants to side with them, they buy a few bombers and F-35s or
mm.
F-16s, etc. So they maintain that. And third is Hollywood. And these are the kind of things. So they are exporting terror. I mean, I should say terror, defense equipment, war equipment, I should say. They are exporting culture. So one of the books that I've recently written is about our cultural change in our society. It also gets influenced by the foreign culture, and American export of movies or Hollywood is one of them. So there are three things that the USA exports. So even if we open our market, seriously, we can only get cheap milk and cheap corn. Nothing else America can sell here. Very little. Our quality is better here anyway.
Mm. Sir, you lived in USA, I think, for more than a decade, if I'm not wrong. And
Right.
you completed your MBA from College of Business.
Right.
And as I said earlier, a number of books were written by you. So,
Hmm.
sir, I have heard something about USA, about social life, uh, that there are benches in public. I mean, benches where you can sit, where you can
Hmm.
even lie down, and there are kind of fences installed in those benches so that someone cannot sleep on them.
Hmm.
I mean,
Fences.
benches. I mean, there are kind of
It's like
fences.
some sort of a,
Yes, kind
okay,
of
tell me.
protection. So one can, I mean, there, because there are a lot of homeless people. I mean, they
Oh, yeah,
also
yeah.
they live in cars. If again, if I'm not wrong, if my information is correct, that they are ought to they are bound to live in their cars, and a lot of teenagers have cars,
The
but
those are the rich poor people who have a car.
okay, okay, okay. So,
Okay, anyway,
so,
believe,
so it is kind of, I mean, kind of basic restriction, basic government administrative restriction, so that because economy is not in good shape. I mean, now it is known to the world that the European Union and the US, the economy of these groups are not in good shape. So, is this
right.
correct that कि मतलब उसको ऐसा कहा जा सकता है कि ऐसी नौबत आ गई है कि जो पब्लिक में पार्क में बेंचेस उनमें ऐसा लोहा लगा दिया गया है जिससे लोग वहां पर सो ना पाए और मतलब ऐसा इज आई मीन इज द इकोनॉमी इन दैट बैड शेप
So in general, a few things have happened in the US. One is that so they have taken about 10-20 million illegals. And that's probably not your topic, but it's a big reason why it has gotten to
इमिग्रेंट्स
that
आई
point.
गेस
They're immigrants, but they're actually called illegals.
इलीगल्स ओके
Immigrants, like if I went there to study and then I get my H visa and then I get my permanent visa, so then I'm legal immigrant. So I am an immigrant, but there are people who just walk, like Bangladeshi walk into our country. Technically, they are restricted, don't come, but thousands and thousands are coming every day. And Pakistan probably very few, but they still come occasionally. But Bangladeshi is a very porous border, very large. Assam, Bengal, everywhere they have been coming. So similarly, from their side, they have by boat or by land, millions of people have come, millions. So they have created a big load on their economy. Like, they are, you have to take care of them. So crime has increased. A lot of things have gone down because suddenly you get, like, suppose we had 4, 5 crore Bangladeshis. We already have so many actually, but you get like so many people within matter of 4, 5 years. And they are like, oh, and they're officially like, okay, I'm an illegal immigrant from Bangladesh. And they only speak Bangla. Then what happens? It's very hard to assimilate in the society and get them into absorb. And what do you do? So first of all, why are they allowing it? What is the reason? It's the same reason as here, votes. These people vote for the people that let them come in. So moment they come illegals, some states which are controlled by certain political parties,
Hmm.
there are only two anyway, and you can tell. तो इलीगल इमिग्रेंट्स जो आते हैं हमारे देश में, और उनको अगर खर्चा उठाना पड़ जाए और सीधा एक साथ 4, 5 करोड़ आ जाए, मतलब तो फिर महंगा पड़ता है। तो ऐसा ही करके वहाँ भी हो रहा है। तो उसके कारण वहाँ के समाज में ये लोग आते हैं तो सिर्फ आ जाते हैं, पैसे तो होते नहीं। तो काफ़ी सारे डेमोक्रेट जो हैं और सारी गवर्नमेंट्स हैं वो कहते हैं कि भाई आ गए हैं तो उन्हें ख्याल करना है। तो वहाँ के स्कूलों में, होटल्स में, कहाँ कहाँ वो लोग रखे जा रहे हैं, हर जगह पे प्रकोप बहुत बढ़ गया वहाँ पे ऐसा मैंने जितना भी देखा। अभी गए थे थोड़े दिन पहले, और जब भी जाते हैं तो बहुत अलग तरह का दिखता है ये, वैसे पहले की तरह नहीं दिखता है। तो पहला नंबर ये। दूसरा ये होमलेसनेस। एक तो ये आते हैं जो वो लोग होमलेस होते हैं। वहाँ की इकोनॉमी इतनी ख़राब चल रही है, जॉब्स नहीं मिलते, तो धीरे धीरे करके बहुत सारे लोग होमलेस होते चले जाते हैं। और होमलेस लोगों को तो आप देखते भी होंगे, ऐसे भी मूवीज में भी दिखाते हैं कि इट्स अ कॉमन कॉमन थिंग। हमारे भारत में भी होते हैं होमलेस, लेकिन उतने ज़्यादा नहीं होते। कोई न, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ कोई ना कोई किसी के घर जाके रुक जाता है, और कहीं तो इंतजाम हो ही जाता है। सड़क पे सोते हुए जो लोग मिलते हैं वो उतने होमलेस नहीं होते हैं, वो उनका घर ही होता है। मतलब जॉब करके आके आके सो जाते हैं वहाँ पे। जब मुंबई में हम देखा करते थे फुटपाथ पे सोते हुए, फुटपाथ में तो अधिकार से लोग सोते हैं। तो लेकिन वहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है। वहाँ पे ठंडी इतनी ज़्यादा होती है, अब उसमें के लिए आपको तुमको कितना, तुम कैसे बाहर रहेंगे आप लोग। ओह, so these homeless people there are as a result of a poor economy. And in California in particular, they have raised the minimum wage to $20 per hour. So most companies are also running away, because the 20 is a lot of money for 1 hour of work. So therefore, fewer people are getting into the job market. So essentially, if you go to any city in California, I was there in San Francisco, not now, but 10 years ago. And I had to and I was staying in a big hotel like Grand Hyatt or something. And just coming downstairs, and I wanted to go eat at a restaurant which is right next to it. I had to go around like this rather than just go immediately next, because there are homeless people there. They're all getting smoking, drinking, and you can see it's not a good place to be. It's scary and dirty. So all of it added together, the lure of America, that everyone was like, wow, the fly bright and shiny America of the 70s, it doesn't exist anymore. So that country is struggling. So that, and about the bench part, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's so many homeless people. You want to protect some assets. You don't want the homeless people to be floating around in parks when children are going to play, and you need people to use park as a park rather than a home. So many states, if you go to California in particular, you would find a lot of jhoppadpatti,
Hmm.
thousands of them, not hundreds. And they're also living on the streets, they're defecating on the streets, just like exactly like here. So the USA looks very different today. I appreciate Trump's effort of changing it, because whoever you talk to, because of the vote bank, what happens is that these guys who are immigrants and this and that, you start giving them even like $20 for free, they vote for you. So that's what they have been doing. Like in India, people also do, to get illegals and get them to vote for you by making regularizing them. So regularizing is a standard term used in our society. The regularizing is nothing but making converting illegal to legal at the cost of the government, which is the cost of the people. So they are doing that there. So right now, so in essence, if you look at American society today, still a lot of good things are going on, but I don't see anything path breaking. I don't see anything path breaking. Few things happen once in a while, but path breaking is very little. So joblessness is very high. The homelessness is very high. Production is very low, manufacturing wise, and you don't have skilled people also. So put together, it's a poor package now. And the same thing is happening in Europe too. And first of all, it's so expensive. So $20, let me just give this to you. I mean, I know we are short of time.
Mm.
See, if I go somewhere to get a haircut, exact same nice haircut, and you probably need a haircut, not as much as I do. Um, so you get a haircut in Germany. How much you pay? $80. You pay $80 because they get you haircut. Good haircut is also $200. But so for entry level kind, it's 100 or $80. Here we pay about 80 rupees, right? 100 rupees these days. Most places they have increased to 100 rupees. For the small ones are still charging 30, 40. Same haircut. Now, but they are paying 80, you are paying $1. 80 times more they are paying. Same way, there are many other things. If you go to a hotel to eat a burger, we paying $10, $5. I'm talking about five-star hotel. They're paying 40, $50. So are they five times richer just because they're paying five times more? If I go to a Taj hotel and eat a very nice Italian food for 1,000 rupee, and they go to their own hotel in their whichever country they are in, and they pay $100 or $80 to eat the same meal, and then they say, "Oh, I'm spending $80 and you are spending only $8, so I'm 10 times richer." So that is how they are richer than us. The purchasing power parity concept is not trivial. So when they say the Britain's economy is 3.1 trillion, $3.4 trillion, I mean that $3.4 trillion is only because they are inflating everything by 10 times. The economic activity is hardly anything. A flat is costing you 5 lakhs rupees for one bedroom. Here it is costing us only like $500 for one bedroom. How can they call themselves richer? So same thing when they build a car, our cars cost, let's say, 10 lakhs. The same car, if the same exact car, if it were to be built in America, the cars will cost $20,000 because the labor cost is so much higher. I'm incorporating a lot of automation. Only then, if it's a manual labor, then the cost will go 30, 40 times. So therefore, they're not making clothing, they're not making shoes, they're not making, I don't know, look around anything. Clothes, I don't know, they're making nothing now. They have to importing everything because if they made it there, they cannot justify the cost. So therefore, there is a serious problem USA has, and it's been declining, declining, declining over like 2 or 3 decades. And Trump has been trying to hold it. It's like, okay, I'm not going to let it decline anymore. Let me fix. So his intentions are good for his country. And I actually appreciate that because, most of the presidents, oh, let's just give away a couple of $1 trillion to the poor people and illegals have to be hired. And those are complete mess they had made. Now he's trying to control it, but he's being criticized for many things. Like we are also criticizing him, and he's losing the fact that he's behaving the way he's behaving. A lot of countries are learning to live without America. See, the America has been a bigger central point of reference in everything we do. You say, क्या यार, this is not good. अरे मालूम नहीं अमेरिका में क्या होता है. So America is like the foreign country. When you say in foreign country we do the, I have seen this. We always referring to America as the foreign country. It's like an iconic model of everything. Now it's not there. And China doesn't need America. China needs America for consumption, not for buying anything. China, Japan, we all, if you exclude USA and the UK, 15% of the world population, they're not contributing too much to in terms of intellectual growth. They're only consuming. So I feel this is a political statement and a bold one also, that I see a significant decline in their economies, even if they're claiming $4 trillion or $3 trillion. I just told you how they become $4 trillion.
Sir, I mean, I'm not sure if you use that. There is there's a social media app called Instagram. So there runs some meme. I mean, meme in the form of a reel that Ajit Doval, NSA, National Security Advisor, is standing with three or four Afghani ministers, and
Hmm.
That photo looks quite classy, to be honest.
Okay.
Uh,
Hmm.
and uh, and the song that plays on that reel is song from Heather, ढूंढ रहा था
Heather.
मंजिल. Heather, Heather, महफिल महफिल ढूंढ रहा था मंजिल. Those are the
Acha.
lyrics. So, and the
Hmm.
caption on that reel is diplomacy peaked here. And
Diplomacy, what?
peaked here.
Okay.
And the context of that reel is that India used Afghan network to eliminate or execute terrorists living in Pakistan.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So and now the agencies like CIA, Mossad are also admitting that the Indian diplomacy is the Indian diplomatic channel is quite effective, working quite efficiently. So, but when you look up to this part, the India USA tussle in last few months, it does not look like that. I mean, as per the accusations of opposition, it does not look like that Indian diplomacy peaked there or here. So is it correct that Indian diplomacy is working very well in a lot of aspects, but when it comes to this, the India USA scenario, it is not effective?
Not effective. So it's hard to, I mean, for me to judge because I'm not sitting inside the government to see exactly if NSA is picture. I mean, we've seen pictures with Putin recently,
Hmm.
and it was reported that he's there visiting while Trump is cursing us. And this photo, this meme, I have not seen, but I'm sure it's
Modi ji
there.
also met Jinping few days back.
नहीं नहीं अभी नहीं मिलने वाले हैं.
Oh, sorry, SEO meeting. Sorry.
हाँ अभी एसयू मीटिंग में जो अभी
Hmm.
एंड ऑफ द मंथ में जाएंगे
Hmm.
हाँ. So, but yeah, that line is open now, and I'm very happy about that. I'll come to your question, but I'm very happy about India and China coming together because we are natural allies. You know, we are neighbors, and we have the same culture, same mindset. When I went to China, the zero language, but the communication was excellent. I mean, I could instantly know what they had in mind. So if you grew up, let's say in Muzaffarnagar, and just by little bit of action you can say अरे वैसा बोल रहा है वो,
Hmm.
because you know how people think, how people talk, how they create gestures. So I go to foreign countries on the this Asian part. I feel deeply connected. I feel very deeply connected that, and same things to China. So our connection is very strong. If we are culturally similar, I know the food habits and many other things we keep criticizing, but we are very similar as a nation, Buddhist and, I mean, this entire world has been the same. Now we call them Buddhist. Earlier they were same as Hindu, but Buddha was. I want, and when I was studying in the US, I had a very good friend. He was from China, and he and I used to do car races together. Uh, so, and I always thought, someday we will both third world and developing country, taking getting no respect from the US or any other country. In the 80s, India or China didn't count. So we were struggling countries and with no hope, even in China. And I always thought, we should come out of this, and we used to dream like, like someday our countries will become big, and I'm not able to find him. I should say, Kale, bad you did it, because they have done so well, and now China done it, and India is kind of struggling because we have so many forces, so we cannot run because we have to carry the loads of so many things. Democracy itself is a load, and then opposition is a load, and getting votes is a load. It is all the things you have to carry just to
Again,
move
a big
forward.
statement. Democracy is a load.
Huh. Otherwise, if in China, I find tremendous freedom of everybody. Nobody was stopped from doing anything. There were no police watching and observing. I know they have cameras and things, but there was they were in people just because they don't have Google and they don't have Facebook, and the whole world thinks, oh, that even Facebook and Google are not allowed. No, they're allowed, but they don't call it
They
Facebook. They
have
make
their
their
own
own.
Facebook.
I mean, if somebody comes to my home and they say, "Can you believe hamburgers are not allowed in Amitabh's home? Can you believe that he's depriving his children of the great taste of hamburger?" I said, "No, they are eating dal bhat every day because that is their meal. Why should they be eating burgers?" So same, China has a very powerful set of applications. They have a WeChat. which does everything more than Apple, all these guys. So we create this impression and project onto others. So I'm very happy about India China things. About India doing well. So that here is the thing, and I'll give you just one line for this because I don't know the inside of the government and what Ajit Doval or Modi ji and Putin they are talking about. I can only read. But the fact is that we are worthy of getting targeted by Trump itself is a sign that we have arrived. If we have somebody completely insignificant, do you even bother about him? No, we only bother about some people who count. And I think I agree that, a lot of people will criticize, oh, there's so many homeless people, their water is flowing and then the Nala is dirty, and you're saying India has arrived. But the thing is that 10 years ago, then nobody even cared about us. If suppose we were a football, nobody will even kick us. And sitting here on the ground like, hey, take it, it's insignificant. At least we are in the playground and we are being counted.
Mm.
I'm very happy with this. This is so significant. You won't believe it. I will tell you another minor story. Just look at it. When I was living there in the US, Narsingh Rao came as a prime minister to visit that country, which I read in a paper, was an Indian newspaper called India Abroad. They said that next month, PM is going to come. And the days he is supposed to come, I would go to the library. The library had 130 newspapers. Everything was there. All the foreign newspapers, American newspaper, Boston Globe, Columbus Dispatch, Cincinnati Enquirer, New York Times, Washington Post. Everything was there, and I would read page by page to see what is he doing here because there was no internet in the early 90s. Just to find out what Narsingh Rao is doing. If he had, you would have met the no reports. There's no reporting of this of we India, big country and everything, largest democracy. Nobody reporting it in the newspapers there. This left a very, I felt very offended. That's my country's CFPM comes and there's not even this much. Fifth day, I don't know why he went to Boston. There was a tiny report in the eighth or ninth page. It's just tiny bit, like 5 lines, that there was this something was stolen from the Indian Prime Minister's room in the Boston hotel. That is all the reporting came. No, okay, so that we know our stature then in the early 90s or mid 90s, maybe 93.
Mm.
And again in 99 or yeah, 99, I was driving to coming back from somewhere, and I used to listen to this radio, NPR, whatever. And then suddenly I hear Atalji talking on the radio. 3, 4 lines. I said, wait a second, because I didn't even realize it's a foreign language
Mm.
because it's like I thought anymore. I mean, like you don't think about it when you hear anything.
Mm.
Then I say, this is Atalji talking, and I'm in the US. I forgot that I was in the US because I heard something Hindi on the radio. So that was Atalji. So that came as a shock. That okay, well, uh, we had the nuclear bomb thing going on, so we became relevant for them. And then now you see that we are reported on the headlines. So no one can say that we don't count anymore and that we have not arrived or if our diplomacy is working or not. Our diplomacy is working. We are counted now. People seek us out to do deals, to negotiate, to discuss. If they have to take 5 names, earlier it used to be USA, Russia, France, Germany, and England. Those were the 5 countries. They were the biggest countries in the world. Everybody said, oh, these are the five. Oh, you can say G5, G6, etc. But those are the countries that counted. If you went below, then Sweden and Italy and few others will count. India and China never mattered. Japan also joined later. Then now, if you talk about top 10 countries, India would certainly be there and China would be like probably the number one. And many European countries would have fallen off. And Korea and Japan and India and Asia and China, Asian countries are the ones ruling the world. So India has certainly arrived, and if we have to keep the momentum going so that we become more powerful, and we are very influential. We don't realize that, but I think we are so focused on how Americans are thinking about us that we forget that America is probably only 7% of the world, and the 85% of the world is away from white Christian people living in Europe and America. There's South America, there is Africa, there's all of Asia, and I would love for India to be focusing on them rather than sucking up to the people who ruled us.
Sir, if we look up to last few series of events, like the Donald Trump invited Pakistan army chief Asim Munir
Mhm.
on lunch or dinner, whatever. And then the statement on tariff, that the first one, that 25% tariff on India. And also, again and again, Trump repeatedly said that he mediated in between India and Pakistan for ceasefire. He took the initiative of um, uh, taking both the countries
Right,
at
talking to both
ceasefire.
parties and say,
Yes.
बच्चे बच्चे से माँ ने दोनों भाई को डांट दिया कि चुप कर, झगड़ा बंद करो, आगे
Yes.
क्या तो मारूंगा।
So
तो
so
उनको इसी तरह से पोजीशन कर रहे हैं अपने आप को।
yes, yes. So he is trying, मतलब अपने आप को ऐसा पोर्ट्रे करना कि नहीं नहीं, आई एम द बिगर वन, आई एम द बिग ब्रदर. So
राइट।
uh, don't you think, I mean, and you said that earlier, that this is not something expected from a person who is president of a country that is not a common country. And so, I mean, doesn't it look like a below the belt step,
Yeah,
or
below the, it's certainly it
something
is,
which
it
is not
certainly is।
designated, something which is not appropriate, and something which does not go along with the image and the current structure of India?
So he is doing all this to prove to his voters there that, see, I'm doing things. So here is the American thing, and I'll tell you again by my own observation of living and observing them, that every American president wants to look presidential when he's standing in the middle and there are two countries standing by his side and he sits there and he puts there. So here my arms, so you can see I'm stretching the arm on the
Mm.
shoulder of those two countries. And they always be sitting in the middle. I have seen Yasser Arafat and one more guy, and this and that, and then this Yugos, no, what is that? Many East European countries over the years. Anybody fights, America is there, and they're the mediator or the broker or supposedly influencer to bring them together. And I always wondered, ki, whoa, America is doing such a great job of mediating and brokering peace. Brokering peace or bringing peace or negotiating peace is what they always projected. And I always wondered, what don't you have a job to do? If you are going there and brokering, putting a nose in whoever is fighting, then you want to be there. Why? And if Iran and Iran are fighting, and we are all worried, we all want to help, and but then you want to be the one who calls the shot and be the one to close the deal and be positioned. So what happens is that American public likes to see that leadership coming from the American president. And if you have to win votes, you have to drop these names. And you can see that in election campaigns also. I was the one who went to, like, there's so much foreign. There's a lot of foreign things that everybody talks about and shows off. That I was the one who went to Armenia and brokered the peace deal. I'm the one who went to Palestine and then brokered the peace deal. So they're brokers, like, and of peace deals. That's what they say. But that's all that they've been doing it for decades now, and since I've observed for 40 years now. Now Trump wanted to be the guy. Very natural for an American president to claim credit for whatever is going on between two countries. Interestingly, uh, I'm very sure we don't know what happened, but it's very obvious now that he was lying, right? He didn't broker any peace deal. And like I say, we don't know facts, but I would trust our people more than him because he's saying he's claiming this for, and you would have seen so many memes also now, like husband wife is fighting, then Trump says, I've had a chance to talk to both the parties and I have negotiated a peace deal between Mamta and Suresh. And so so brokering peace deal is the job of American president. If there is any conflict anywhere in the world, I think they had declared that as their own job, and people are not accepting it now. And he's trying to do the same thing. His election campaign was, within 24 hours, I will stop the war between Russia and these guys, and in Palestine and Israel. 24 hours. They always said that I'm going, and then the other candidates also were saying, I will make an offer to Putin that he cannot refuse, and the war will stop. And they always talked about war stopping war between two unrelated parties was their job. And so he has to prove that he's doing the presidential thing. And I think he went too far because that is why. So and it relates to the tariff part also that he, and this happened at coinciding with the same time. Initially, we thought that we're doing well, the negotiations are on, and suddenly everything will work out well. Then the war story happened, and then we didn't acknowledge his contribution in stopping the war. And then he got angry, and that is where I see the non-professional stuff happened. That, oh, Modi is not listening to me. What the hell does he think? 25% more. Or I'm telling him not to, like, you tell your son, don't go play with Sharmaji's son, and he still goes and plays. You punish him. तुम्हारा पॉकेट से पैसा काट लेंगे. The same way, oh, I'm telling you not to talk to Putin and you're talking to him, 25% fine. So he's doing it like that. He's like a school teacher. He's fining everybody for doing something or the wrong, something other or the other wrong. So despite everything, if you understand American politics and how they think about things, they are so used to being the guy everyone looks up to, and that's not working right now. So hence the frustration.
One more thing, I remember last to last presidential election of USA. I mean, there
Hmm.
was literally thousands of protesters and protesters, or you should call them supporters of Trump, headed towards White House, and they
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
marched and they protested that the elections are not fair and something is
Hmm.
fishy, something is wrong. And
Right.
so a lot of conflict was there when in last to last presidential election of USA. And there was sense of proud America in that protest. And as you said, till now it is obvious that people from America have a kind of a sense of proud American. So uh, do you think, or what do you suggest, that Indians should feel the same way? Because there is to be there is a mindset in Indian society, among laymen, that things are bit. I mean, India is a lot of people do not believe that incredible India or
Yeah, yeah.
Sone ki chidiya. So what do you suggest, that we should go with the mindset of proud Indian, like proud American, or is there are things that still wrong?
So, two things. One is that what happened in the US when the Biden won and Trump lost, and a lot of Trump supporters thought that it was, and it's very true. The election process in America is really funny in a way for most Indians. First of all, you don't have a voter ID. So you just go and vote based on what? So a lot of people have been voting. That's why these illegals can vote, because you can walk up to a booth and vote. I could have voted also, actually. I mean, it's just like you're not supposed to, so you don't. But the voting ID is not required, then you can just vote. That's number one. And so I'll tell you one more reference, then we'll conclude. I remember when George Bush Jr., I think it was 98 or something, I forget, or 2000 election when he won against, after Bill Clinton. So yeah, 2000. So George Bush won, and I think I was there, so I was watching more carefully live. The George Bush lost his election. George Bush, the ones we know, George, he's called Junior. He lost his election, and he said, "No, no, there's something wrong. We have to recount the vote." So in the U.S., you have to lose the entire state. So if I get one vote more than the other party, the entire state vote gets accounted to me. So that's a separate topic about how elections are done. Very not like you get add all the votes.
Hmm.
It is the states in each. So California is a Democrat state. Michigan is a Democrat state. Ohio is a Republican state. In New York City is a Democrat state. Texas is a Republican. So these are states, and each one carry votes. So with one vote also in the other guy, you get the entire vote. So without going into the detail of the election process, George Bush, George Bush's brother was a governor in Florida. They said we need to recount, and they recounted. They got 150 more votes, and George Bush won just because of those 150 votes. Because it's a very manual process. It's very manual process. It's like you
Paper ballot,
physically
I
go and
guess.
put physical ballot paper counting all these things that there were some people are claiming that ballot papers were thrown in the garbage, and a lot of those things actually happened. They are not willing to upgrade to the system we have, which is the most profound system of running elections. And
Mm,
they don't do it. And there are also people opposing because of this and that, that they just don't have opinion. They don't have a vision to run the elections fairly and more robustly. So we don't know exactly who had won because there are a lot of opposing opinions and pictures and photos and saying that, the election was not fair. So
mm,
we have to honor what they all agreed. But so people went to the Capitol Hill, and then a few things got destroyed, and they all blamed Trump for it. But he was not sending people. People were going on their own. So that was a bad, negative, very bad event, and a lot of people get blamed for it. And the entire Democratic Party has been blaming Trump that you sent the people by putting a tweet in it. And Trump says that my tweet came 4 hours after they had forced themselves in, and my tweet was just saying that you don't do it. So, but like here also, even if you said it or not, they will keep saying that, oh, you said this and you didn't, and that, so they were doing that also there.
mm,
Unfortunate thing about with feeling patriotic for Indians. That's a separate huge discussion, and that's my. I just wrote a book recently. It's the focus of it, about feeling connection with our country and our nation and our culture. We don't have to take inspiration from American patriotism to get inspired that they also feel patriots, they make America great again. And all of that is true. And then I respect that. We don't have to follow that. We have our own models. And most of us are we're not proud. For example, if you have a father who is a laborer and
mm,
you have come to to Delhi to study, and then you have rich friends who are fathers are very rich, so you will not feel pride in your father's work. But do you think you still love him less? No, no, you would not, you don't love him less. But you just don't have that pride that my father just got a 20 crore deal from this, and that his father is five, they bought a house for 6 crores, and his father is a laborer, he's earning very little. So he still loves his father. So we have Indians are like that. Even if you don't respect it, are not proud of it, but we still love it because it's ours. So it is something that we don't have to train, or we don't have to coach. I think we already have it. That's why we are still surviving and doing well. Bharat is alive and kicking after thousands of years of nobody has withstood like this. Like we all say, oh, 17 years, Iran fell, Afghanistan fell, Pakistan went away, a lot of things have gone away, and we are still standing. That's a separate topic. How much are we standing and how we are standing? But when it comes to American stuff, we are very much standing, and we are tremendously proud, actually. If we criticize India, then it's fine, but let a foreigner criticize India, we'll beat them up. So
mm.
we are like that. And Pakistanis will also do it. But there's the sense of pride, or at least protection. You feel protected about our own. Yeah.
So at this point, sir, we will conclude the conversation, and I'll honestly call it what a conversation on USA, on the Atrangi character, Donald Trump, the President of States of America, and a
Mm.
lot of things, economy, and the current economic scenario of USA and European countries, and the emerging state of India, the Indian economy, and the different sectors, or either it was automobile or it was agriculture, everything mostly, a lot of things were discussed in this conversation. So we hope that aspects of this conversation will spread and people will understand the ongoing scenario. And till then, take care, and we will soon see in each other in some conversation. So
Will do.
here we concluded.
Vibhav,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. I had so much fun speaking with you. It was a great free-flowing conversation, and I loved it. And thank you so much for doing this. And I
Mm.
do look forward to meeting you again.
Sure, sir. Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you
Take
very
care.
much, sir. Thank you.
Bye.